Hello everybody. Before we start, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell to receive notifications of new videos, and leave a like if you enjoy engaging stories full of passion and moral dilemmas. Today, I'm going to share with you a story that will challenge your limits and call into question what we consider right or wrong. I never thought I would be able to cheat on my husband. Hugo, my husband, is a dedicated, hard-working man, and for years we had a married life that, although not extraordinary, was stable. But life has a strange way of surprising us, of putting us in situations that reveal sides of ourselves that we would never have imagined existed. And that's how it happened to me when Vallentin appeared in my life. It all started very innocently. Hugo had decided that it was time to renovate the porch of our house. It was something we had been putting off for months, and he finally hired a bricklayer for the job. When I first saw Vallentin, it wasn't a big deal. He was just the guy who came to work every day. But as the days went by, everything changed. Vallentin was young, but not inexperienced. His strong, tattooed arms were those of someone who knew his craft and did his job with precision. He was quiet, always focused, but there was something about him, something that I only realized after a few days of observing him in silence. Hugo left for work early, and I was alone with Vallentin supervising the renovation. Little by little, the silence between us became a presence that I could no longer ignore. Initially, I found myself just admiring Vallentin from afar. Maybe it was the monotony of my marriage that made me pay more attention to it than I should have. The athletic body, the sweat that glistened on his skin as he carried heavy materials, the muscles standing out with each movement, it all began to provoke me in a way I had never felt before. With Hugo, our relationship has always been stable but predictable. The passion and excitement of the early years were gone. Our nights were routine, and I missed something that I didn't know how to identify until Vallentin appeared. Every day, my curiosity for him increased. What would it be like to feel the touch of someone like him? A man who seemed to exude virility with every gesture. It was one sultry afternoon that everything changed. I was in the kitchen drinking a glass of water and looking out the window when our eyes met. He paused for a second, watching me with an intensity I'd never seen before. My heart raced. Was this real? Was it possible that he was also feeling this tension between us? The following days were a mix of expectation and anxiety. I knew what I was feeling was wrong, but every morning that Vallentin showed up, it was impossible to ignore the growing desire inside me, until one day I couldn't resist anymore. Vallentin was finishing laying the last tiles when I decided to take action. My body was on fire, and something in me screamed for release. With my heart racing, I approached him as he came down the stairs. He smiled shyly, but his eyes betrayed what he was really feeling. I could stop right then. I could just get on with my life. But instead, I let desire take over. I touched his arm, and in that instant, the world around us disappeared. The force with which he pulled me close, the way his rough hands explored my body, it was as if a volcano had been released inside me. Vallentin was a passionate, intense lover, and he made me feel alive in a way I had never felt before. At that moment, all my inhibitions disintegrated. It led me to explore parts of myself that I didn't even know existed. Every touch, every kiss, every movement was as if we were in perfect tune, and in the end, I found myself destroyed, exhausted, but at the same time deeply satisfied, because the feeling of having reached orgasm several times was incredible. Our meetings became more and more frequent whenever Hugo was away from home. Every time Vallentin touched me, it was like a new part of me was awakened. He knew exactly how to tease me, how to explore my deepest desires, and as much as I tried to fight it, there was a part of me that just couldn't stop. Vallentin was not just a seductive young man, he was knowledgeable, knew what he wanted, and somehow seemed to understand exactly what I needed. Our affair was explosive, a mix of unbridled passion and adrenaline from the danger of being discovered. There were times when I wondered if I was a bad person for indulging in that forbidden desire. After all, I was cheating on my husband, but at the same time I felt like Vallentin had brought a happiness that I hadn't experienced in years. His last day of work was one of the most difficult moments. We knew we couldn't go on with this forever. The risk was too great, and the guilt was beginning to consume me. However, we couldn't help but indulge one last time. That day, the passion was even more intense, perhaps due to the knowledge that it would be the last. Now that it's all over, I find myself reflecting on what happened. I know what I did was wrong, but somehow I don't regret it. Vallentin showed me a side of myself that I never knew before. He made me feel alive again. He brought me back to life at a time when I was asleep in a marriage that no longer satisfied me. Today I keep our secret. I didn't tell Hugo, and I probably never will. Maybe that's for the best. Some truths are too heavy to share, and at the same time, I know I'm not the only one who has gone through this. I believe that many women out there have experienced something similar, a case that made them question who they really are and what they really want in life. And you? Have you ever found yourself in a situation like this? Have you ever had to deal with desires that felt wrong but made you feel more alive than ever? This was my story with Vallentin, an intense experience that left a deep impression on me. I share this with you not to be judged, but so that we can reflect on the paths that life presents us with. Sometimes what is considered wrong can be the only thing that makes us feel alive again. If you like this story, please don't forget to like the video, comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. I look forward to reading your opinions. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.